So you want to track and improve your Pinterest performance, and you know that starts with Pinterest Analytics, but does diving into Pinterest Analytics sound a little overwhelming or time-consuming? Maybe you finally started to figure things out, and then the interface changed again. Well, don't worry, because I'm covering everything you need to know about Pinterest Analytics in 2021. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Brandy with LYFE Marketing, the digital marketing agency with a mission to help small businesses grow. Before we dive into Pinterest Analytics, go ahead and like this video for me and subscribe to the channel for new digital marketing videos every single week. Okay, so what are Pinterest Analytics exactly? Well, Pinterest says it helps you understand your overall presence on Pinterest. It shows you what paid and organic published content or pins that you've published and pins people have saved from your claim domain resonates most on Pinterest. So essentially, having access to your Pinterest analytics should help you make informed decisions about your Pinterest marketing strategy by showing you what people are responding to the best. All right, so I'm going to put up some screen shares and walk you through Pinterest Analytics. But first, in order to have access to Pinterest Analytics, you need to have a business account. So if you need to do that first, I'm going to put a link on the screen from Pinterest support articles, and you can type that in and follow the steps they provide on how to create a business account or convert your existing Pinterest account into a business account. Once you've got that squared away, you'll need to log into your business account and go to your business hub at https://www.pinterest.com/business/hub. From there, you can select the analytics drop-down and choose from Overview, Audience Insights, Conversion Insights, Video, and Trends. So let's look at the Overview tab first. The first thing we see is a notification for future changes that says, in the coming weeks, you may see analytics on this page fluctuate. So that's just something to keep in mind from the time I'm making this video to its release, that things may look a little different, but the overall functionality and purpose of Pinterest Analytics should remain the same. And as always, if you ever have questions after watching this video, you can leave them for me in the comment section. Then underneath that notification, you'll see the main metrics for impressions, engagement, total audience, and engaged audience. Impressions are the number of times your pin was on screen. Engagements are the total number of engagements on your pin, including clicks and saves. Total audience is the total number of pinners who have seen or engaged with your pins. And engaged audience is the number of pinners who have engaged with your pins. Now, before we go on, I want to point out that most of those numbers are showing as red and down for us. I want to transparently address the fact that Pinterest is not our #1 marketing channel for us here at LYFE. Our target audience consists of small business owners of both men and women, and Pinterest users consist more predominantly of female consumers. So we just don't invest as much time and effort into this channel because it doesn't make as much sense for us when our target audience exists more abundantly and spends more time on other marketing channels like YouTube. Now, the demographics of Pinterest did shift a little bit over the course of 2020 with everybody being at home and looking for maximum entertainment in their scrolling. So some of the later statistics about Pinterest demographics show more men using the platform than before, but I'll be interested to see if the numbers slowly shift back to the way they were over time. And on top of that, I didn't see much of a shift from B2C to B2B regardless. Either way, I just wanted to address the fact that as I'm walking you through our analytics account for the sake of showing you the different features of Pinterest Analytics, you don't need to pay attention to the numbers you're seeing there, as I'm not showing those numbers as the goal. If you want to see ideal Pinterest strategies, we can make a separate video showing some of the strategies that have worked for our B2C clients. So let me know if that's something you'd want to see in the comments. Okay, moving on. As we scroll down on the left-hand side, we can see different filters we can set for the page we're looking at by date range, content type, claimed account, device, source, format, and data. So you can set those based on what data you want to review, and if you own multiple Pinterest business accounts, you'll want to make sure you've got it set to the right one. Now I'm going to hop onto my computer to walk through the rest of this page with you. Okay, so one of the first tables that we see on the screen is performance over time. And again, like I just said, you should have all of these set to be, like the filters on the left to be set however you want to view everything else on this page. So if you're only wanting to look at mobile, you should go ahead and select that before you start messing with these tables and everything like that. I'm going to set mine to all, and we're looking at organic and paid. But again, if you wanted to select and only look at one of those, you could do that here. All pins, your pins, and the different format. I want to look at all of our different types of pins. So mine's just set to basically everything, but like again, you would need to set those how you want to view them based on what you're looking at. And I'm looking at the date range of the last 30 days. So the first thing to note is that they have a drop down here, and you can look at impressions, engagements, pin clicks, outbound clicks, saves, engagement rate, pin click rate, outbound click rate, save rate, total audience, engaged audience, monthly total audience, and monthly engaged audience. So you can look at all of those different things on this table. And in addition to that, you can split it by content type, claimed accounts, device, source, and format. So let's just look at some of these as an example. I'm going to filter by engagements, and let's do by content type. So we can see organic was the orange line. We are not currently boosting anything, so the purple line is just showing flat. But if you did have something that you were paying for paid content, you can see that purple line fluctuating here as well. And that would be able to show you the difference in engagements between your organic and paid. It might show you if it's worth doing paid content, if you're getting just as much or more engagement with your organic content, things like that. We can also look by device. So green is mobile, desktop is red, tablet is blue. So we can see where on what device people are engaging with our content the most. And that could be helpful if you wanted to pivot your marketing strategy to be more mobile centric, since people seem to be engaging with you more on mobile. And we could look and see specifically how many saves are coming from which devices, how many impressions are we getting from each devices. So you can start to tell there's a bunch of different ways you can play with this table between the metrics here and how you want to view them here to compare all kinds of data and answer any kind of questions that you have regarding your marketing and regarding what's working. Now, one thing I will say about the impressions metrics, I've seen and heard this a lot when talking about Pinterest marketing, is that impressions really are considered a vanity metric. Engagements, can be said that people are liking your content. They're clicking on it. You're making more of an impression as a brand in their mind. But the metric impressions, people are just scrolling past it. If they scroll past your pin on Pinterest, like rapidly trying to get to the bottom of the screen looking for something else, that's going to count as an impression. And they might not have even seen or noticed your pin as they scrolled by it. That's just something to be aware of when you are looking at all of these metrics, that impressions is probably the least important metric that I would pay attention to in a Pinterest analytics account. So as you're scrolling through and looking at these, and if you have your boards separated by category, and you see that one board is vastly outperforming another in terms of any of these metrics here, that could be an indicator to you in terms of what your target audience likes to see content-wise from you. What topics do they find helpful? If you see that one board has much better engagement or a lot more saves, it's probably a sign that that board and the content on it is a lot more helpful to your target audience. So that's helpful here to look and see what type of boards and content matter the most to your audience. The next thing that we see as we scroll down here are your top pins. Same thing, you guys are kind of seeing a pattern here. You can separate your pins by all of these metrics: impressions, engagements, pin clicks, outbound clicks, and saves. So same concept here. You can take it a step further from your top boards and look at your top pins to really narrow in on what type of content your audience likes to see the most. And again, I would not look at impressions as the telling sign. I would look at engagements and pin clicks and saves to see what kind of content your audience on Pinterest likes to see the most from you. And same thing, if you get down here and you want to know what types of posts from your top pins are performing the best, again, you can come back up here and separate by the different formats. But that is this page in a nutshell. So I am going to jump back in front of the camera now. Okay, so now let's look at the next tab, Audience Insights. This tab will give you information about your audience as well as Pinterest users in general. One of the first things we see is the ability to toggle between our total audience and our engaged audience. Your total audience includes all users who have seen or engaged with any of your pins in the last 30 days. Your engaged audience includes all users who have engaged with any of your pins in the last 30 days. So let me hop on a screen share and walk you through the rest of this page. Okay, so like I just said, we're on the Audience Insights page now. And when you've got your total audience selected, you can look at all of the different categories down here and the different charts and look at the most popular categories and related interests for this audience. So for this audience means for your total audience, which includes all users who have seen or engaged with any of your pins in the last 30 days. The biggest one you can see is finance, and when you have that highlighted, it goes into some of the specific finance interests and by percentage of category audience. You can click on the next one of electronics and it breaks down this interest. So it has your audience's top interests listed out here, and then you can click within each of those interests to get a further breakdown on each of them. And again, this will just help you determine what kind of topics and content your audience is interested in. Maybe you knew that they had an interest in electronics, but you didn't specifically know that they liked home theater or had a specific liking towards cell phone and accessories type topics. So this just can kind of show you what your audience likes to see and has engaged with. And when you come down here, it breaks it down, the age distribution of this audience and the gender distribution of this audience. Female being the higher percentage here is not much of a surprise, given that females typically tend to be more active on Pinterest. And then location, the top locations for this audience, so where most of your audience resides. And you can break it down by top metros like cities or top countries like this. And then the devices used by this audience, iPhone, iPad, or Android mobile and Android tablet, mobile web, I'm guessing is desktop web. So this just gives you more information about your audience, right? Which the more information, the better. And if you scroll back up and toggle to your engaged audience, it will show you all of the same information for users who have engaged with any of your pins in the last 30 days, which this is more specific than your total audience, right? Because your total audience could have seen or engaged. So if you want to specifically look at these metrics for people who are only engaging and not just scrolling past your content, not just looking at it, but people who are engaging with it, that's where you can look at their content interests here. And same thing for age and gender and all of that. We're not going to get into advertising too much in this video, but I would just like to make a comment that if you are interested in Pinterest advertising, this could also be a good place to kind of start doing some audience research for yourself on the Pinterest platform to ask yourself, what is my audience interested in on this platform? It could give you a better understanding of how to target, maybe what age and gender to target, where to target them. So that's just a note here for the future if you are thinking about Pinterest advertising. Now, the other interesting thing on this page is you can click to all Pinterest users. And this is the Pinterest total audience is global and includes everyone who has seen or engaged with any pins. So this is huge. You have access to analytics of the entire Pinterest user base platform. So you can see what the top interests are. And again, Within those interests, some specific interests like home decor interests here, age and gender. And again, we're seeing, like I said, 70% are female. Location, but this is only showing for top metros and it does not show top countries. And then device. So it looks like the majority of people access Pinterest on their iPhone. So this is just some valuable data to have access to, especially if you are just starting to consider Pinterest as a marketing platform. This could be a good resource for you to kind of look at and see what are people interacting with the most. Ask yourself if your business falls within any of these top industries and interests, and if so, it probably could be a good platform for you to start marketing on. And then the last tab here is to just compare. You can compare your total audience or your engaged audience against Pinterest's total audience, and compare categories and interests, age and gender, and location and device. So you're seeing a pattern here again. They have these main analytic topics that we look at: device, location, gender, age, interest, and it's just a bunch of different ways to compare them. And these are all specifically comparisons within the last 30 days. So that about wraps it up for audience insights. I'm going to jump back in front of the camera now and we can talk about conversion insights next. All right, so next up, we're going to look at our conversion insights. As you can see, it has the sign beta next to it. So there are some new features they're testing out with this. Now, before I walk through this page with you guys, it's important to note that you'll need to get conversion tracking installed in order for this to be useful. And by conversion tracking, I mean you'll need to install a piece of code on your website. If you saw Sean's Facebook Pixel video, it's a similar concept in that you have to install something from the social media platform onto your website so that you can track activity and conversions from that social media platform. Otherwise, how would Pinterest know if somebody bought something from your website or completed a contact form after clicking on one of your pins, right? So here's how you can install it. When you first log in and land on your Business Hub page, you may get a prompt like this one you can click on to follow instructions on how to install your tag. If you don't see that notification, just click the Ads drop down and click Conversions, and you'll be brought to this screen under Tag Manager, where you can scroll down and choose one of 3 ways as to how you want to install your Pinterest tag. All right, now I'm going to jump back onto the computer to go over conversion insights as well as the remaining 2 analytic tools. Okay, so I'm here on the conversion insight screen. We do not have our conversion tracking tag installed, so you're probably going to see zeros all throughout this page, but this is just to kind of give you a glimpse of what it will look like as well as what you can use it for. So total conversions, use this page to understand the total influence of your pins and ads on revenue and other conversion metrics. So this will show you the total value influenced by your pins and ads. You have page visits, the number of times people visited your site after seeing your content on Pinterest. Add to cart, the number of times people added to cart after interacting with your pins. The number of checkouts stemming from your pins and ads, and the average value of checkouts stemming from your pins and ads. So this is in comparison to the previous 30 days. And one thing that sticks out to me is the page visits metric. I know earlier we talked about impressions kind of being a vanity metric and being something that's not super valuable to look at because people can just scroll through Pinterest and that counts as an impression. But this one would be a little bit more valuable to look at of the number of times people visited your website after seeing a pin. So it's counting more than just the impression. It's counting if they saw it and then clicked to your site. Now, same thing here. There would normally be a chart here and you could split by paid and organic. So you can split by revenue, average order value, checkouts, add to cart, and page visits. It'll just show you all of that data. Performance over time, we have revenue, checkouts, average order value, purchasers, page visits, add to cart, impressions, pin clicks, and saves. And similar to some of the other analytics tools we've looked at, you can split it. So you can split the graph by attributed action, conversion content, claimed accounts, device, format, and source. And then down here, we have the activity funnel. The activity funnel is currently unavailable while we make updates, but it allows you to see how your total audience on Pinterest converted on the path to purchase. So that will be interesting to see how that rolls out. And then down here we have top converting pins. We've seen this already in a couple of the analytics tools that we've looked at, but this allows you to see top converting pins by checkouts, page visits, add to cart, impressions, pin clicks, and saves. So the biggest thing on this page is if you are wanting to monetize your efforts on Pinterest, if you're wanting to see every dollar that's coming in from Pinterest and really optimize your pins and the content you're posting on Pinterest for more website traffic, more conversions on your site, this is where you want to be looking. You want to have that conversion tag installed so that you can have access to all of this data and say, okay, let me look at my top pins and see which type of pins, what type of content is getting me the most checkouts, is getting me the most add to carts. And that way you can optimize your Pinterest strategy from there. Now, scrolling back to the top and looking at some of the filters along the left, most of them are the same. If you look at the ones on the bottom, you can filter by your claimed account, by device, by source, the format, etc. Up top, though, it's a little bit different. You can see stats by the type of pin interaction that led to a conversion. So you can filter by attributed action. You have your date range there. And then you also have your attribution window. So you can optimize for people on Pinterest likely to convert 30 days after they click on your ad, 30 days after they engage with your ad, or 1 day after they view your ad. And you can set as the default attribution window for this advertiser account. So they have different attribution windows there that you can choose based on what's going to get you the most results or what type of offer you're providing, if it's an impulse buy or if it's something that they need to consider for a little bit longer before converting. You can select the attribution window that best suits the nature of your business. And then down here we have the conversion content. So you can filter by organic, paid, unassisted, and assisted. All right, so moving on to the next analytics tool is going to be video. So up top, the main metrics that we have are video views, any 2-second continuous playback of your video pins while 50% in view. So this is the 2-second part is talking about how long it's played, and the 50% in view means that it's still 50% within view of their screen. So this isn't going to count if someone is just scrolling past it. It's got to be 50% within view and a 2-second continuous playing of your video. Total play time for your video pins in minutes, same thing. Outbound clicks, the total number of clicks to the destination URL associated with your pin, and saves, the number of times your pins were saved. So those kind of gives you those big metrics there at the top. And then we see the similar chart performance over time, which you can filter by impressions, outbound clicks, saves, video views, average play time, total play time in minutes, played at 95%, and 10-second plays. And again, we see that you can split it by content type, claimed accounts, and device. So not going to go over this too much. It's the same kind of graph that we've seen throughout all of the analytics tools, but this time it's just for video. Top pins, again, you can filter by impressions, outbound clicks, saves, video views, average play time, total play time in minutes, played at 95%, 10-second plays. And you can also filter to make it be pins created in the last 30 days. From here, it also gives you the option to promote your pin. So this could be a good way to look at your videos and say, okay, this one is performing the best. Let's put our advertising dollars into that one. And then over here on the left, we're seeing the same similar filters. You can filter by device, claimed account, content type. You can set your date range. So that's about it for video. I'm going to click over to the last tool here, which is a little bit different than what we've looked at so far, and that is the Trends tool. You can also get here by going to trends.pinterest.com, and you can filter by the US, the UK, and Canada. But essentially, you can discover what people are looking for. You can look at the top trends on Pinterest. So before I scroll down too far here, you can search things in. So let's look at, let's type in outdoor space, since that's promoted right there. Okay, interesting. So the search term wasn't found, but new terms are added regularly. So you may not find a specific term. It looks like they're still adding to that. But if you scroll down and look at this week's top Pinterest trends, you can see summer nails, end of year teacher gifts, graduation party ideas. Those make sense. And well, all three of these make sense because they're timely. Graduation nails, nails acrylics, and then there's some less timely topics here as well. But this can kind of also give you a pulse on what people are liking to see and engage with on Pinterest at the time. Discover this week's trending ideas across our most popular categories. So it breaks it down by fashion, food and drinks, beauty, home decor, and travel. And then it has a prediction down here. Pinterest predicts more than 400 million people use Pinterest to find tomorrow's ideas. It's a place to look forward. That means we know what's next. You want the trends of tomorrow, not the trends of today. We've got you covered with Pinterest Predicts. So you can click visit there. And when you land on this page, it takes you here. And basically they have a whole bunch of different categories from 2021 trends. You can filter by audience and category. And when you click on one, it gives you some trending search terms. So this will be important because if you were making content about these topic items, these are the search terms that you want to include in your content so that it can be found when people are making these search terms. It's always been slightly argued that Pinterest is more of a search engine than a social media platform, because think about the nature of how Pinterest works. People log on and they search for things that they're wanting to find, whether it's an outfit of the day, home decor for their home office. So these trending search terms will help you decide what kind of copy and keywords to put into your content so that it ranks and appears at the top and at the beginning of the page when people search these things. And then it has some data down here for you. And it's going to have this for all of those categories. So clicking back to the trends page within analytics, that's what this page looks like. I would fiddle around with this as well, and just whatever your industry is or whatever your business is, think about what people might be searching as it relates to your industry and business, and type that in here and see if it is available to look at yet. See if you can find any relevant search terms there. But that about wraps it up for these analytics tools. I'm going to hop back in front of the camera now. All right, so those are all of the different sections of the Pinterest Analytics account broken down. I have 3 quick takeaways for you. Number 1, if Pinterest is where a large percentage of your target audience spends their time and you're ready to really dig in and capitalize on that with your Pinterest marketing strategy, then Pinterest Analytics is your friend. Number 2, Pinterest Analytics will give you a lot of good information on the type of content that is resonating most with your audience, filtered in so many different ways depending on what you're analyzing. And number 3, I would definitely set up conversion tracking to track how many leads or sales you're getting from Pinterest, but remember that it's still in beta mode, so you'll need to keep a closer eye on it to ensure everything is tracking correctly and smoothly as time goes on. All right, that's all I have for you today, guys. Like this video if you found it helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.